game here at McGonigle Hall. 15-14 on the season for Temple. They've won 29 in a row against Atlantic 10 opposition in this building, going for number 30 tonight. They are very, very tough at home with a winning percentage of over 90%. And now let's get down to business. Temple in their white uniforms with the cherry red trim. The Scarlet Knights of Rutgers in the bright red with the white and black trim. The Atlantic 10 tournament will begin for several teams in 2 days, for the higher seeds in 3 days. Hughes against Strickland, and the tap controlled by the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. This is Jones, Earl Duncan with it. Duncan, the baseline pass underneath to Craig Carter, and Craig Carter has the shot blocked, and here come the Temple Elves.
Well, the freshman took it right to him. They're not going to hold the ball tonight, Rutgers.
On the other end, Strickland slams it down. Mark Strickland gets a nice pass underneath.
Strickland does not take a lot of shots. He averages 4 a game. If he takes a lot like that, he'll shoot more than 4 in this game.
Earl Duncan, one of the transfers from Syracuse, handled the ball. 44 with it is Donnell Lumpkin, the freshman. He's been freshman of the week 3 times in the Atlantic 10, but there's the steal, and it's Mark Macon. Turnaround jumper is good.
Now he takes a few more than 4 a game. Mark Macon, he's taken 230 more shots than the second guy, so we're going to see him shoot a lot of those.
Here's Lumpkin. He's 46% on the year from three-point land, and he shows the nation why.
Three-point basket by Rutgers, number 44.
Donnell Lumpkin, freshman out of South Brunswick, New Jersey.
Not bad for a freshman to come in on the road. That's why he's starting.
6'7", though, and you're shooting 46% from three-point land. That's a nice weapon. And it's 4-3. This is Mick Kilgore. Don Chaney's Temple Owls. Harden trying to get it underneath to the big 7-foot freshman, but Rutgers with a steal, 2-on-1. And off the glass and in is Keith Hughes, and Rutgers has the lead.
A lot of people, because Rutgers last time they played a zone and did fairly well in it, and West Virginia played a zone the other day and stopped Temple. They thought Rutgers would open it in a zone, but they're going very aggressive man-to-man.
Strickland posting up Lumpkin, and the turnarounder is good, so both these clubs hitting with regularity early on.
Well, Strickland was a great high school player. He was the MVP at the Boston Shootout. He just hasn't found himself offensively in this team, and that's why some nights they struggle if Macon isn't scoring.
Duncan, three-point land. Rutgers will throw up a lot of three-point shots. Jones thought about shooting, but got it underneath and scored the basket. Donnell Lumpkin put it up, and goaltending is the call against Donald Hahn.
I was impressed by Mike Jones' pass. As we right here, he really is watching underneath. Most freshmen will shoot that shot. And that's one reason he's starting instead of Datica. They said he plays a little better defense. Of course, Datica's had 3 great years for Rutgers in the past.
2-on-1 against Hyde, but the freshman from Washington, D.C., Donald Hyde, nice control. He knew all he had to do was find a slight opening, and he banked it in.
They lost nothing offensively when Caldwell flunked out. Defensively, of course, Caldwell is a great shot blocker and defensive player, but Hodge can score.
Jones almost traveled. Lumpkin has to throw up a wild shot as he slid, and Strickland gets the rebound. We're seeing 2 pretty young basketball teams on the floor tonight.
No seniors.
Ball out of bounds. It will remain in Temple's hands.
On the Temple team. So, you know, the future's ahead of these 2 ball clubs. There's Coach Wenzel. A lot of people thought, as we said in the pregame, that Rutgers would be the hot item in the East. He's 0-3 on ESPN this year.
Is that why he didn't smile when he saw us in the arena? Here's Mick Kilgore having it slapped away and out of bounds. Good defensive pressure that time by Craig Carter, 6'3" junior out of Brooklyn, New York.
Of course, Tom Savage, the great player for Rutgers last year. They averaged 20 a game. At the start of this year, he was only averaging 12 a game, and they thought the chemistry would not be there between Duncan and Savage.
Strickland beat Lumpkin for that pass. He had the wide open shot, but missed, and a whistle. And an injury timeout. Lumpkin comes limping up the floor, and that could be a bad sign for Bob Wenzel's team if he has to spend a lot of downtime. Coming in to replace Lumpkin is Lee Perry. He's a senior, 6'7", from Freehold, New Jersey.
Well, we said with Perry and Duckett, they have a lot of people. Yeah, he just turned his ankle on the shoe there.
Meanwhile, back to the live action. Jones, the pass to Perry, just into the ball game, in and out. Strickland with a rebound, and Temple up by 1, looking for 3 or 4. Mark Macon's only taken 1 shot tonight. He's only touched the ball 1 time. He drives the baseline, maybe forced something a little bit, and Carter comes down with it.
And maybe got fouled.
Yes. Duncan, the three-point shot off the front iron. Perry on the rebound, and he is fouled. And Rutgers will retain possession. Well, that time, Earl Duncan, junior out of Los Angeles, one of those transfers from Syracuse, launched it from NBA territory.
I think against Temple, the best offensive philosophy isn't to pass it. The more you pass it against their zone, the tougher it is. It's almost like UNLV's man-to-man defense. The more passes you have, the closer they are to stealing the ball.
Jones, nice body control, and gets the soft roll. Mike Jones, first basket of the night. And Rutgers has the 1-point lead again.
And they're on a roll with Hodge lately. Almost everybody has double-teamed him. Rutgers was a little slow getting to the double team. Great offensive player. And the last 5 games, he hasn't taken 10 shots in any one of those games, mainly because everybody's double-teaming him inside and making outside.
Rutgers back to the attack after the timeout, 9-8. Rutgers leading Temple as Hughes drives Kilgore and passes back out for the 3, which is an air ball from Keith Hughes. And the crowd is letting him know about it.
Keith Hughes averaging 18 a season.
Harden into Kilgore. Rather, no, this is the freshman driving for the hoop, Donald High. The 7-footer has 4 points on the night, and Temple's got the lead back.
Coolidge High in Washington, D.C. Everyone knew coming in he'd be able to score.
23 with the ball. Greg Carter, cross-court pass to Duncan. Mark Macon right in his face. Temple, they're patented for playing the zone defense.
And they play a lot of different zones and make them all look like that 2-3. They'll go into a 1-3-1 in a minute. They mix it up.
There's Duncan on the run, doesn't get the roll, but the rebound to Perry. The second rebound to Perry, and Perry draws the foul from Mick Kilgore, and he'll be nailed with Temple's second team foul.
You know, we're looking in there. You'll see a real good block by Hodge. Now, that's not his specialty. That was Coswell's territory before. Hodge is getting a little better at it. But you will see a lot of rebounding from Macon and Kilgore. In fact, the 2 guards get more defensive rebounds than the 2 big guys, Strickland or Hodge. So it's very peculiar how Temple, now down in the other end, the 2 big guys have way more offensive rebounds. But in Temple's zone, the big guys box out, the guards get a lot of rebounds.
Lee Perry sinks both foul shots. For a reserve, he saw a lot of playing time against St. Bonaventure the other night. Had 15 points, but played 33 minutes. And Rutgers pressuring the inbounds play, almost comes up with a steal, but Temple controls, and this is Mark Macon.
Not a bad philosophy on the road. Get your guys to tell them you're going to take it right to them defensively.
Temple, not a good 3-point shooting team. We saw evidence of that as Michael Harden hit the rim, and here comes Rutgers with a chance to increase a 1-point lead. That chance goes awry, though, as Lee Perry traveled. You know, turnovers, the bugaboo in each of these teams last game. 17 for Rutgers against St. Bonaventure. Temple had 21 the other night at West Virginia.
Coach Chaney said it was one of the worst efforts. Usually, if you can hold West Virginia to 55 down there at the Coliseum, you're going to win that game. Offensively, they'll usually take it right to you, but everybody's been trying to stop Macon. Even if they keep the score low and they stop Macon, you can beat Temple.
And Mark Macon has Mike Jones on him. Macon was open for the 3-pointer, though. He was nailing them in pregame practice, and he does the same here.
Macon is the same player he was the freshman year. A freshman year with Evans, he was scoring a lot more coming off picks, just like you saw right there in curling. This year, he's trying to take it more himself, and of course, everyone's double-teaming him.
Jones, the 3-point try, the miss, and here comes Temple. You know, Macon's got 5 points in this game, only 13 shy of becoming the all-time leading scorer in Temple basketball history.
And watch Mike Jones right now, the freshman. This is why he's starting, because he's supposedly a better defensive player than Datica.
Right now, Strickland setting a pick for Macon. Macon looked like they were trying to clear a side for him, but nothing worked out.
They left Strickland completely and double-teamed Macon that time. Strickland was wide open.
Kilgore to Strickland. 16-footer, line drive, no, but Hodge is there for the rebound and blows the layup.
But Strickland has to take that shot. If they don't want their two big guys double teamed, someone else has to shoot.
Earl Duncan buries it from about 22 feet. That's his first 3 points of the game, and Rutgers back on top by 1.
And that's the Earl Duncan of Syracuse University fame, where he started 14 games his freshman year. But apparently, Coach Boeheim couldn't keep him happy up there. He transferred.
Earl Duncan averaging 14 points and 3 rebounds a game this year for Rutgers. He had 20 a few nights ago against St. Bonaventure.
They had a lot of guards when he transferred.
Yes.
Now they don't have any.
Macon is wide open again. You can't do that. He got off against Rutgers in their last game for 24, and he's off to the races tonight.
And there's the countdown to being the all-time leading scorer in Temple history.
Right now the betting is, when he breaks the mark, sports marketing in association with ESPN, and a use, rebroadcast, or other transmission of this game without the written consent of Creative Sports Marketing and ESPN is prohibited. Mark Macon, the story for the Temple Owls tonight, 3 for 4 from the field, Mike, including 2 of 2 from three-point range. This is a guy who's shooting 38% on the year and under 30% from three-point range. Doesn't look like the same player tonight.
And there's another one. The countdown continues.
Number 12, Mark Macon from McGonigle.
On cue, Macon dishes it in for 2, and Temple with a 2-point lead, and Macon needs only 8 more points now to break Terrence Stansbury's all-time scoring record here at Temple.
Now here's their matchup zone. They'll go straight 1-3-1, sometimes straight 2-3. Now they're in that matchup out of a 1-2-2.
Rick Danica into the game. He was a starter last year for Bob Wenzel, a reserve this year. Shot taken by Lee Perry off the rim, and the big 7-footer Donald Hodge with the rebound. Danica will be in Mark Macon's face now.
Danica's not supposed to be as quick as Jones, so Macon has a little smile on his face when he makes that reverse. Oh, not a great shot there.
No, he tried a dipsy-do shot. He was underneath the backboard, and he gets lucky because Rutgers tapped the ball out of bounds. I think he found himself up in the air with nowhere to go when he took that shot.
Well, Coach Cheney knows when he spun around, you're always going to get a double team if you take an extra dribble. Macon had him on the jump shot, but he kept going underneath and ran into the double team.
Friends, that shot you saw of John Cheney, you'll never see him more calm in a basketball game. Never happened. Macon off the pick. He's open. Up and no good, and Perry with a rebound.
He was right on the money.
Strickland is sending some awesome picks for Macon at the top of the key tonight.
That was a great double pick play.
Perry right baseline back to Danica. Perry has 4 rebounds on the night for the Scarlet Knights. Hodge has 3. 3-point shot is good as gold by Earl Duncan.
Three-point basket by Rutgers, number 3.
He's 2 for 2 from three-point land, and Rutgers with a 1-point lead again.
But against Temple's zone, you don't want to live on three-pointers. You really should establish inside, get them dropping back a little bit, and then you can shoot the three-pointers.
Arden to Strickland.
Rutgers shot 22 three-pointers last time these two clubs played, so they're used to taking three-pointers.
Macon, with Danica right in his face, puts up the 2-pointer, no good. Temple controls the rebound. And Harden running the show, along with Macon in the backcourt, a whistle underneath. And a foul on Rutgers. That's Keith Hughes, and he has trouble believing that.
Well, Coach Wenzel yelled at the official because Hodge did the first pushing, and then when the official looked to see what Wenzel wanted, his man did the pushing Hughes, and they caught the second guy. Hughes is trying to explain that right now, probably doing a better job than I am.
Mick Kilgore will inbound for Temple. Lumpkin is back into the game now for Rutgers. He left with a turned ankle a few minutes ago. That's good news for Bob Wenzel's club.
And the three-point shot, he averaged 31 a game in high school, so Lumpkin knows how to shoot it.
Speaking of three-point shots, Temple taking one there. The person of Mick Kilgore. Out of bounds it goes. Off Duncan, they say, and Temple retains possession. Much to the delight of the crowd, but not that man, Bob Wenzel.
This is a big game for Rutgers. They need to believe they can beat this team since the tournament starts Saturday, and they'll probably be in the same bracket. I'd rather be in Temple's bracket. You get to play them at the Palestra rather than play them in the final here.
If Temple were in the final, it'll be right here at McGonigle Hall. It goes to the highest remaining seed as Strickland is called for traveling. Last year, both Temple and West Virginia were upset in the semifinals. He had Penn State number 4 and Temple number 3. Mick Kilgore takes a seat, and coming into the game for the Temple Owls is Johnny Connick, number 22, freshman guard out of Saginaw, Michigan. Another guy from Saginaw, Mark Macon. There's 3 of them from Saginaw on this Temple team.
And you notice John Chaney is not yelling at Strickland at all. He wants him to stay relaxed. That young man, they need him to score for Temple to go anywhere big in the NCAA tournament.
Danica,
you can just see he's playing nervous. He gets in the ball game late. He has to make something happen right away. He doesn't.
Rutgers basket by number 31, Keith Hughes.
Keith Hughes hits that.
Yep.
But Danica, you know, when you're used to starting for 3 years and you're coming off the bench, it's a different role. And of course, you usually play differently, and he is. His shooting percentage has really suffered.
Well, Danica was such an inspirational leader for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights last year. He was really a fan favorite, still is in Piscataway. But I guess it's he's finding out the hard facts of life now.
Well,
in college basketball.
Mike Jones has a lot of athletic ability, and Duncan, of course, is back for another year. So
the odd man out. Mark Macon takes the shot. Good defense by Rutgers, and Macon was way off, and here comes Duncan. He'll pull up and take it. In and out and in again. Earl Duncan's got 8 on the night, and Rutgers has the lead by 5.
In the old days, the coach would have cringed coming down on a 2-on-1, stopping, pulling up, and taking a 12-footer. But in today's basketball, it's acceptable.
Michael Harden. Macon's wide open, thought about the three-point shot. Danica's giving it to him. Like this one from guard Rick Danica led the Scarlet Knights to the tournament title and their first NCAA tournament bid in 7 years. The fans were in an uproar in Piscataway, and the emotions were boiling over on the Rutgers bench as they went on to play the Iowa Hawkeyes in the NCAA tournament. And they played Iowa and Roy Marble and company rather tough in that game. I believe it was in Providence, Rhode Island.
Well, that's another reason everybody thought this was the year of the Scarlet Knights.
And you see the field goal percentage. Rutgers and Temple both doing pretty well. 44% isn't terrible, and Mick Kilgore adds a few percentage points to that.
Usually he's a much better shooter with his feet under him and getting a pass
from
Harden.
Mike Jones.
But right here, now don't forget, this is a 6'8" guard. At the start of the year, when they had the big lineup, Coswell in there, this young man was going to be a 6'8" point guard. They were going to play Macon at the 2. Then they switched over to Macon at the point, and then finally they went to Michael Harden from Baton Rouge, and now they play a 3-guard setup, as Rutgers also started tonight, 3 guards.
Kilgore missing the foul shot, so Temple's deficit is still 3, and this is Lumpkin with the ball. Donnell Lumpkin over to Duncan. And Duncan's passed to Lumpkin. He's open for the layup. Nice look by Duncan.
Rutgers has played so many times against this Temple zone. They know they're going to match up with him. They send the cutter right down the middle, and they just isolate Harden by himself in there as we see a nice penetrating move.
Yep, Mick Kilgore that time knew he was going to draw some body contact from Lumpkin, and Lumpkin draws the foul, and Kilgore will go to the line to shoot 2. Coming in for Temple, number 41. That would be Chris Lovelace. He's a freshman out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, 6'11". You have a freshman 7-footer for John Chaney, a freshman 6'11". You got a lot of young talent.
A lot of young talent, and that's why they didn't think they'd miss Coswell. I think the only problem with Coswell was the fact that they thought Hodge and Coswell would get in each other's way offensively, but you know, you can't think that you're going to be a stronger club losing someone like Coswell. He had some great credentials, and you know, they just needed a little more time to get the chemistry together, Temple.
Well, Kilgore missed his first free throw. Goes 1 of 2 here. He's a 75% shooter on the year. Rutgers still leading by 4, and Duncan with a basketball. 6:18 left first half. Tom Mees along with Mike Rice. Atlantic 10 regular season finale from Philadelphia. And here's Macon with a steal. The pass intended underneath for Anthony Duckett didn't go. Meanwhile, the pass by Macon underneath for Lovelace didn't go, and Rutgers comes back with it.
Well, that's one reason Macon gets double teamed so often. If you have people dropping passes, they don't even need to check those people.
Duckett just into the Rutgers lineup for his first action of the night. Meanwhile, a long three-pointer by Earl Duncan is off the top of the backboard. And look out, here's Hodge. Showtime at McGonigle Hall. Good transition for Donald Hodge. He
runs the court well for a big guy, but this Temple team will not fast break too often. That was on a terrible shot by Rutgers.
Yes, that shot was launched by Duncan. He hit the side of the backboard with it, and Hodge got every seven-footer's dream, a breakaway for a Showtime slam dunk. And Rutgers, I think, wisely slowing down the tempo a bit here. And traveling will be the call on Keith Hughes. Lovelace was on him.
John Chaney will keep switching zones till he finds one that's effective. You know, he'll drop that point guy way back, Michael Harden, and turn it into a matchup. They'll turn it into a 1-3-1, and they'll make it look like almost a 2-3 because they'll put Mark Macon out front, but he'll switch to a wingman, and Strickland will become the back man in a 1-3-1. So he's a master at disguising his zones.
Lovelace going to be called for an offensive foul. If it hadn't been for that, he would have been called for traveling. So Temple committing its 5th turnover of the night. And Rutgers with a 2-point lead in the basketball, 5:05 left in the half.
Well, a lot of the young people on John Chaney's team need a lot of patience. And as you see, John Chaney has a lot of patience. He's not up yelling at his young players. And the guy from Fort Wayne, Indiana, you see the turnovers there. And 2 of them for Rutgers have come from the big guys with the ball right in their hand.
Team fouls not a factor for either club. Temple has 3 of them. Rutgers has 4, and only 4:45 left here in the first half.
And you see Rutgers is making it tough to match up with them. They're keeping 4 people down on that baseline.
Lumpkin, an off-balance fadeaway of some sort is no good. Never had a prayer, in Lovelace for the rebound.
And you were being nice by saying of some sort.
Meanwhile, Macon with another pass off the hands of his center Hodge, and Macon visibly upset at missing connections again.
No, he shouldn't be, because, you know, the big guys will get under there and get you some rebounds, and you can't get down on your big guys because they drop a few. You can, by yourself, yell and scream and run into the wall.
Here's Harden. Steal and a slam dunk.
And we got that because Harden had been dropped all the way back to the foul line in that zone, and that time he came out and put a little pressure on the pass.
That ties the game. Couple of dunks in a row. The crowd is into it, and Duncan will try and silence him. Can't do it. Here comes Temple again.
Well, there was 2 bad shots by Lumpkin.
In the studio, and he'll be examining the ongoing problems of the North Carolina State basketball situation with the allegations of point shaving and whatnot. And he'll have all the scores and highlights from other games around the country tonight. That's at halftime.
Duncan in our ball game, the transfer from Syracuse, has 8 points, and Macon has 10. Duncan's last 2 shots weren't quality selective shots. Sometimes you get caught up with trying to be as good as Mark Macon. You don't win ball games doing that.
Macon his freshman year, Dick Vitale, and I can understand why Dick would come up with the label, said he was going to be the next Oscar Robertson. He had that kind of year. Hasn't lived up to that billing, but it's really not his fault. There's not too many Oscar Robertsons around.
Well, he gets no points in transition, so his shooting average isn't going to be as high as we see a great three-pointer for Michael Harden.
Also, in fairness to Mark Macon, he doesn't have the same surrounding cast he had 2 years ago.
A lot of different circumstances in it, but when you sit in a zone like this, and Temple almost has to this year, they don't have a deep bench, and they don't want Macon to get into foul trouble, so they're playing a slower game. So your shooting percentage will suffer.
Macon gets called for his first personal foul of the game. It's only the 4th on Temple, and Rutgers will inbound. John Carter looking for somebody open, finally finds him in Jones.
I disagree with Chris Fowler. I think this Temple team belongs in the NCAA, whether they win the tournament or not.
Wow.
Nice spin move.
Keith Hughes, I'm sure that's not how he diagrammed it, but he'll take credit for it. That's Hughes' 8th point of the night.
As we said, you don't want to spend all night trying to figure out how to break the Temple zone. You have to go at them occasionally offensively.
Lovelace, when he turned around and got the pass, had someone right in his face. He missed the shot, but fortunately for him and for Temple, there was Mick Kilgore to put in the rebound.
Kilgore has grown 6 inches since his senior year in high school, so you can't teach that.
Duncan,
6'8".
On the baseline, off it goes to Hughes for the baseline shot and a whistle on the rebound. Foul against Rutgers. Lee Perry is first.
Perry's the senior coming in there.
Rutgers foul is on number 33.
From Freehold, New Jersey.
That's his first personal foul. Team's 6.
Nice box out right there by Kilgore, and he gave him a little elbow, but there was a little Academy Award there. Kilgore probably shouldn't have gone down, but Kilgore did do a good job of getting inside and boxing out in the zone. Probably the biggest thing in zone defense is, does your club know how to box out in it? John Chaney's club does.
Temple always does. All the way back to the years of Harry Litwack, Temple University basketball and zone defense have been synonymous.
And, oh, they've given a lot of coaches gray hair, including me.
Kilgore, three-point shot. I'm just going to say that's not his shot, but he buries it. 7 points, making it 8 points on the night for Kilgore. And Temple now, which had trailed by 5, leads by 6.
That'll really help Mark Macon when a guy like Kilgore can shoot that shot with his feet under him. It really takes the defensive pressure away from Hodge and Macon.
Duncan tries to answer from long range for Rutgers. On the rebound, a whistle. And they're going to call Mark Macon for another foul. Yes, they are. That's Macon's second personal. Macon has not been heard from of late from the field, and he's picked up a couple of personals as well.
And as we said, in John Chaney's defense, you will see the guards down there boxing out and going after rebounds. If you don't see guards rebounding in a zone defense, it won't be. And as you see Macon pushing under, oh, yes. Yeah,
he got him.
There's no doubt about that.
Macon takes a seat, and Sean Randolph, 6'5" junior from Saginaw, Michigan, comes in, and Rutgers answers with a basket from Earl Duncan.
And usually against that zone, you can't go one-on-one that deep against the Temple zone. That time Duncan got right down into the lane.
Michael Harden does a nice job directing the Temple offense in that backcourt.
Sean Randolph, same high school as Mark Macon, down in Saginaw, but he's a defensive specialist. He checks Macon every day in practice. I guess he'd become a defensive specialist.
45 seconds to play in the half. 15 now on the shot clock as Harden looks Duncan eye to eye. Temple leading it by 4 from McGonigle Hall in Philadelphia. Kilgore with a drive, puts up the jumper, and it's good. Mick Kilgore, his 9th point of the half.
Doing a great job of isolating, going one-on-one. Temple's found a new offensive weapon.
Well, Temple will go into the locker room with a lead. Right now they lead by 6. 18 seconds to play. Carter almost traveled with it, drives the lane, and Perry is there for the rebound.
In America, 3 years in a row. By Payne Weber, serving the financial needs of individual, corporate, and institutional clients. And by Budweiser, the king of beer. Remember, know when to say when.
There you have a look at the usual capacity crowd here at Temple's McGonigle Hall. The Owls of Temple leading the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers 35-31. And the countdown to Mark Macon becoming the all-time scorer in Temple history. He now needs 8 points to pass Terrence Stansberry. And there's the junior out of Saginaw, Michigan, Mark Macon. And Temple inbounds the ball to start the second half. Mick Kilgore right in front of us.
Great first half. Mick Kilgore, 6'8" guard. Rutgers back in their man-to-man. They've been pretty successful with that tonight, stopping Mark Macon. Mark is 4 for 9 on the night.
Kilgore works against Carter. Harden wide open to Hodge. He's double-teamed, but they give him plenty of room to get the rebound and put it down.
Well, that was just out-and-out bad defense by Hughes. He was playing on the high side, and the ball was in the corner. There was no chance for weak side help. The pass was right there.
This is Donnell Lumpkin. Nice look pass into the baseline. Lumpkin back out with it. Passes back out again to Carter. Carter's pass is intercepted as Temple's defense collapsed. And Kilgore comes up with it.
That zone defense is like a spider web. They just kind of wait for you to make a mistake. That's why a lot of times teams really try to attack it quick before it really gets difficult to do anything against it.
Macon to Hodge. Strickland cuts to the hoop. Hodge finds him, and Strickland draws the foul. A little bit upset with himself. He didn't get the hoop. Lumpkin gets the personal foul.
He's been looking for his shot tonight, and I think that will really help Temple down the road if they get scoring from him. As we said, he only averages 4 shots a game, so if him becoming an offensive threat, it will help everyone else on the team.
As Strickland hits the first of 2, this series dominated by Temple in recent years. They've won 14 of the last 6, but all time, The Owls lead the series 18-11, with this being the 30th meeting of these two teams.
Here's the famous Cheney shift where he puts Noah underneath.
The Cheney shift. Well, there's the inventor right there.
Yes, and he tries to create some confidence in his foul shooters, I imagine.
8-point lead now for Temple. Rutgers got to think about fixing this deficit in a hurry, and along those lines, Keith Hughes launches a three-pointer off the back iron.
And watch McGonigle dribbles away from the offensive man, and they caught the defensive player playing on the wrong side. He was going out to intercept the pass on the high side, and that's 2 times in a row. And we'll see now next time down if they're going to change the philosophy of the defense or change the defense completely.
You can see John Cheney's Temple club a little bit more successful inside in the paint. And as I say that, Earl Duncan makes a quick liar out of me as he drives down the lane, puts up a running one-hander.
Anything except what they had been taking. Their shot selection was questionable, and their defense. And now they do go zone defense. They've seen enough of the man-to-man with Mr. Hodge really hurting them inside.
Harden with the ball. Macon is open, but from way out of the left side. He's not thinking about shooting yet.
This is a matchup 2-3. They're really going to, and Hodge should be open in this also.
Hodge gets behind the defense. They didn't see him, so Harden will throw up a three-pointer. No good, and Duncan with a rebound. And Rutgers has a shot to get within 6 or less.
Well, someone's going to have to hit an outside shot for Temple.
Well, someone just hit an outside shot for Rutgers, and that was the freshman Donnell Lumpkin with a three-pointer, and all of a sudden the lead is cut from 10 to 5. That's Lumpkin's second three-pointer of the night.
He's from South Brunswick, New Jersey. He averaged 31 a game in high school. As we said, he knows how to score. He was freshman of the week in Atlantic 10, 3 of the last 5. So he's having a great second half of the season.
And he shoots 46% from three-point land.
See how conservative Temple's becoming.
Well, there's a three-pointer. There's your answer. And the Mark Macon count continues. He now is 5 points away from the all-time Temple scoring record.
And they really worked on that zone offense yesterday.
Turnover for Rutgers, traveling with a basketball. And just when Rutgers got back within 5, had a little run going, it's now an 8-point Temple lead, and the Owls with a chance to get it back up to 10.
And they weren't set on defense. They were walking back with their heads down. Hodge has 17 assists all year. It's less than 1 a game, so don't look for him to be throwing any miraculous passes against this zone.
Strickland was double-teamed, got it back out. Macon drives the baseline, puts up a wild shot, goes behind the backboard.
It would have been perfect if there was a basket back there. In the old gym classes.
Rick Danica comes in for Rutgers, and he will replace Mike Jones. Scarlet Knights trailing 44-36.
And John Cheney is staying very much within himself tonight.
Yes.
Saving the voice. After that West Virginia game, anything else would look pretty, because that wasn't a good game for Temple. Of course, Gale Catlett can make you look that way. He throws a lot of different defenses. They had a box and 1, a triangle and 2. He did everything to stop Macon, and he did 5 for 20. Although the Atlantic 10 is becoming kind of a zone conference. John Calipari, the young coach at Massachusetts, does a great job of changing defenses. John Carroll at Duquesne University had to adjust all season with a lot of injuries.
And for Rutgers, Lee Perry puts up the turnaround jumper as Bob Wenzel looks on in approval. Perry doesn't make the shot, but he is fouled. And Harden picks up the personal foul, and Perry goes to the line for 2.
Bob Wenzel's done a great job at Jacksonville bringing that program around. 85 or 86, they were 21-10, did a great job going to the NCAA. And of course, John Cheney, his record speaks for himself. He was great coach at Cheney State, 225 wins. He should have been a Division I coach about 10 years before he was.
Well, he won a Division II title at Cheney State with the Wolves outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, everyone in basketball, the coaches knew about John Cheney way before he came to Temple.
High to the tough Temple rebound, but Donnell Lumpkin swats it out of his hands. Rutgers trailing by 7 with the basketball.
Notice how quickly Datica gave it up.
Lumpkin out of control down the lane and loses control. Mick Kilgore, nice job defending.
And once again, that word chemistry comes in. They've got 4 starters back from last year, 2 great freshmen, two outstanding transfers, but the chemistry for this Rutgers team isn't there in crunch time.
Chemistry is what they had last year. They majored in it as they had quite a role at the end of the year and ended up in the NCAA tournament. Harden's three-point shot, no. Duncan gets it up quickly and launches a bomb of his own. That's his third three-pointer of the night.
And he casually looked at the referee to see if Jim Burr was going to call a and one on it.
44-40. Temple's lead is down to 4, and they're getting anxious here in Philly. Hodge is bumped from behind by Hughes.
And you want to know something? The timeout where Bob Wenzel went over and created that zone defense has worked. That's the first time Hodge has touched the ball since they've gone into that zone.
Second team foul on Rutgers. Temple inbounding. Kilgore thought about a three-pointer. He'll take it this time. Rebound by Hodge. Boy, he's such a weapon. Even though he threw the ball away, he's such a weapon underneath for Temple.
He has the problem of turnovers. His turnover ratio to assist is about 9-1.
That's not a bad shot for Donnell Lumpkin when you consider the shooting percentage from out there, but that time it didn't go. And Macon will launch one. 2-point shot. Rebound, Strickland, but he travels with the basketball.
We're back in that pace where if Rutgers does anything at all on offense now, but you mentioned 29 out of the last 31 games Temple has won on this court, and probably 3/4 of them have been ugly like this game right here. They just make you fall asleep against that zone defense, and then they beat you.
Hughes turnarounder way off the mark, and Macon has Perry and Lumpkin all over his back on the rebound. It'll be Temple ball.
You saw in that zone that time, Macon in the matchup was matched up down low. So with guards being 6'4", as Macon is, and Kilgore 6'8", they can do a lot of things with their zone in the matchup department because they lose nothing rebounding with those two big guards.
Lumpkin with 10 points in the night for Rutgers is saddled with his third personal foul. Just under 14 minutes left, and Temple with the basketball and a 4-point lead. Temple will win the Atlantic 10 regular season. They've already clinched that. Penn State will finish second. Harden's three-pointer in and out. Macon with a rebound. Here's Hodge. Look out. He had to draw at least a foul there. He wants goaltending. I don't think he's going to get it.
No.
Perry's foul for Rutgers.
Great pass by Kilgore. When you're 6'8", you can throw it in like that.
Oh, the foul is on Lumpkin, not Perry. They were both there, and that's Lumpkin's fourth.
And it was Lumpkin that did foul before the ball was up in the air.
So the senior, Anthony Duckett, whose playing time we alluded to in the open to this telecast, has been way down. He'll have to come in now and give Rutgers some quality minutes.
You know, he was their rebounding leader 3 years in a row. His playing time has been really cut, Anthony Duckett. And that's why everyone thought that this team would be so great. You know, you figure the more people you have, the better it is for you, but sometimes that doesn't work out that way.
Greg Carter comes in. Rick Danica will sit down after about 4 minutes playing time. Hodge, the man on the line, throws it up quickly. Not much form there from the line, but he goes 1 for 2. He's got 11 points.
Duckett shot 52% last year, and he's down to 47%. He's just not getting the time to rebound the baskets he did last year.
Craig Carter with a wild running one-hander down the lane. Hughes with a rebound and puts it up and in.
You have to keep going after the rebounds against Temple in that zone. Make them rebound.
3-point Temple lead now as Keith Hughes has racked up his 10th point for the Scarlet Knights.
You saw that time Rutgers had 5 offensive rebounders. That's because Temple doesn't worry about fast break.
Kilgore gets it into Macon. Baseline off the rim. Strickland with a rebound. No good. And here comes Rutgers. Perry has it. Duncan pushes it up past Macon. And Duncan may have been guilty of an offensive foul.
Well, Duncan didn't need to put the mustard on the hot dog. All he had to do was deliver the basketball. The three-point shooter is open right now. And he brings it in and then pass it over. That pass could have been made about 3 dribbles before.
Duncan with a little bit too much shaking and bacon. And going the other way, Hodge is called for pushing off against Rutgers' Anthony Duncan. He'll turn it right back to the Scarlet Knights. Look at Shane.
And this is not exactly what you would call a momentum builder going into the Atlantic 10 tournament Saturday. That tournament will be at the Palestra.
It's Hodges' second personal now. In that tournament, it actually begins Saturday. George Washington meets St. Bonaventure. St. Joseph's meets Duquesne. Temple will get the winner of GW and St. Bonaventure on Sunday at the Palestra. I don't envy the winner of that game.
I don't know if I'd like that Duquesne team the first round. That Mark Stevenson, one of the top 8 scorers in the nation, you know, in a playoff situation, he could really light it up, averaging about 27 a game. Top 4 of the 8 scorers in the nation are from Philadelphia.
Carter has it stripped away by Kilgore, but look at this. Underneath with it is Duckett. Won't go, and it goes off the foot of Craig Carter. Temple ball.
It's getting down to be John Chaney's type of game.
Let's take a look. Looks like nobody wants this thing underneath. Hodge blocked that by accident.
I think Abbott and Costello had the routine about this as well as baseball.
All right, 45-42. Where's Casey Stengel when you need him? Can anybody here play this game? 12-10 to go.
And Rutgers' zone defense has taken Temple right out of all of their offense.
Hodge to Strickland. Slam dunk in the foul. And Strickland lets Anthony Duncan know about it.
And Mr. Hodge should have had his picture on TV. He gets an assist. His 18th of the season.
Personal foul, team 6.
Yeah, Strickland puts it away. Atlanta, Georgia.
Against Michigan, leading by 3 points in the first half. They led by as many as 11. And Minnesota leading Indiana at halftime, 44-39. Gophers going for a 20-win season. Let's go back to Tom and Mike now for the final 12 minutes.
All right, Chris, thank you. Some interesting scores. How about those Golden Gophers in Minnesota? Nice job.
Defense, Big Ten man-to-man defense. We were talking about the zones of the Atlantic 10. When you get up there, you better have a man-to-man offense in that Big Ten. And when you get out in the West Coast against Loyola Marymount, you better have a bicycle.
There's our storyline. It's Earl Duncan and company for Rutgers. 10 turnovers to 11 for Temple, as you see, and the Temple Owls with a lead by 5. Here's Duckett, though, for Rutgers, blocked from behind. I believe that was Kilgore, and here come the Owls.
I thought it was Strickland.
Hardman, the Macon. First corner is good. Martin Macon has 16 points. He needs 2 more.
And notice that was out of transition. The first time tonight, Temple has even come close to running a fast break. Martin Macon will be able to shoot that shot out of transition. Believe me, when he gets to the NBA, he'll shoot that.
Craig Carter answers for Rutgers off the glass, and that's a big basket, his first of the game. Rutgers back within 6. They needed that.
He started all last year, so you're right. They did need that push. Temple was getting into their game.
Macon with the Palestra, Mike, with the first basket of the game. For years, they would throw the confetti and the streamers, and for years, the referees looked the other way. But that held up the game, and it is a technical foul. However, I think the fans can be excused in this case for their exuberance.
No doubt about it.
Earl Duncan goes 1 for 2 from the line, so we watch it all out. Temple leads by 7 now, 52-45, and Craig Carter will inbound. John Chaney, I think, maybe petitioning the referee.
What John is saying is it was a special moment. The game was stopped. He's not going to get his way.
Well, the referees have their orders. I mean, they're not
I think it could have been stopped, but there were 2 toilet paper rolls thrown out. Yeah. That's what created the technical.
And John Chaney is still debating the situation. And, now he's talking to Bob Wenzel. Now, he's not going to find a sympathetic ear in Coach Wenzel, is he?
No, those were they needed that point. They're 7 down now, and maybe he wants Coach Wenzel to talk the referees into it.
Well, this is interesting. I don't believe I've ever seen anything like this before.
Well, what Coach Chaney is saying, before the game, we agreed to stop the game and give them the ball. And the referees are saying something was thrown out on the floor before we stopped the game. And John Chaney says, I only have a 7-point lead.
Well, I tell you right now, the officials are hoping this is not a 1-point game either way.
We'll remember that.
And that's the man who gave them the golden moment here just a few minutes ago, Mark Macon. Congratulations to Mark, and I'm sure Terrence Stansbury watching somewhere around this great country of ours, is feeling good for Mark Macon as well.
Now this is the 1-3-1 zone that looks like the 2-3. Watch Strickland in the back line run the baseline.
Perry, baseline, underneath, up and no good by Hughes, but the rebound by Perry and a foul. They're going to nail Kilgore or Strickland. Anyway, Rutgers retains possession.
Out of that timeout, they went into that disguised 1-3-1. It gives you a different look, and you have to attack it differently.
That is his third personal foul.
John Chaney will do that all game. Most teams try to come in with one offense they think will go against all of Temple's zones.
They levy the foul against Temple's Hodge, his third. Here's Hughes underneath, gets Hodge in the air, and blows the layup, and Hodge with the rebound.
That would have been a big basket.
Yes.
In a game like this, in the 40s, you want to stay close. If you let Temple get 10 up, then Mark Macon starts this.
Macon in and out, rebound taken out by Perry, and Rutgers on the run. They have a 4-on-2. And Duncan pulls up and shoots the three-pointer.
Well, Earl Duncan's used to that Syracuse attack. And they score some points down there. I don't know if that was a great shot to take at that time.
No, I gave you a quizzical look. I mean, you got a 4-on-2. You ought to have something underneath.
Earlier in the game, we said you don't want to hold it too long against Temple's zone. But when you have a 4-on-3 and 4-on-2, maybe you can dish it.
Well, Lovelace is in for Temple. Donnell Lumpkin back into the game for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Mark Macon over to Harden.
The scoring wasn't coming real quick in the first half, but since Rutgers has gone zone, it really has slowed it up.
Harden and Macon taking their time. In fact, Harden's going over for a conference with John Chaney. This is hilarious. Coach is talking to his player. Macon's just holding the ball.
Well, we said it was slowing up. Now, we didn't mean that. Now, Coach Chaney's going to talk to the inside players.
And of course, Macon was there, and he's allowed to hold the ball on his hip because Rutgers was not pressuring him, not really guarding him. Harden takes a wild shot at all this.
Now, is that what he told him?
No.
John Chaney put his head down, said, I didn't tell him that.
Meanwhile, Earl Duncan drives the length of the floor and lays it in, and Rutgers is back within 5.
Uh-oh, there's smoke over by the Temple bench.
Mark Macon. So Harden.
They were very slow moving the zone from one side to the other. Temple has to get the ball from one side to the other because Rutgers' zone isn't reacting real well in that middle.
Macon looked wide open the foul line, no good, but the tip is good by big number 41, Chris Lovelace. Another one of those Temple freshmen out of Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Well, Hughes didn't look real good in the man-to-man that time. His zone defense wasn't very well either.
Carter to Perry, three-point land for Rutgers in. Oh! Lee Perry gives him 5, make that 8 points on the night.
He had 15 against West Virginia last year and had a couple of those long bombs, but he's not noted for shooting that shot.
That's the 7th three-point field goal tonight for the Scarlet Knights. Back within 4.
We said they shot 22 the first time around, but Temple made 10 the first time around. Of course, Mark Macon had 29 points.
That was a 6-point Temple win at the rack in Piscataway, 75-69, just 4 games ago. Strickland, turnaround over Hughes, in and out. Oh, that thing was halfway down in, and Perry gets the rebound.
Iowa State's had real tough going this year.
Harden launches a three-pointer after the timeout for Temple. Kilgore's there to clean up the mess, but he can't put it in.
And that's the second time out of a timeout that Harden has taken an outside shot. But that wasn't a bad idea. That brings the defense out a little bit.
Perry almost lost it for Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights now with a chance to take the lead. They trail by 1. You can see the shooting here in the second half has gone way down for Temple.
And it corresponds with Rutgers going into the zone.
And Rutgers has the lead as Keith Hughes takes the missed three-pointer and puts it down.
He had 20 rebounds against St. Joe earlier this year. 35 points against Virginia Tech. He's very capable of turning it on.
13 tonight for Hughes, the transfer from Syracuse, 1 of 2 on this Rutgers squad. Meanwhile, Hodge answers back for the Temple Owls inside.
And there's what I thought they'd do coming from the timeout. Try to go down to Mr. Hodge down low and let Strickland rebound.
Craig Carter, right side, goes to Keith Hughes, who thought about the three-pointer and thought better of it because Bob Wenzel was right behind him.
You need a lot of people on the baseline against this zone. Get in behind the three-man Temple front.
Hughes throwing it up from deep in two-point territory. Gives Rutgers the lead again. Starting to light it up.
Hey, Hughes seemed a little disappointed, I guess, maybe because he hit the rim or something.
I think he thought he was closer to the three-point line than he actually was.
They have to get the ball down to Hodge against Hughes.
57-56 Rutgers with 5:37 left here in Philadelphia. Temple going for their 30th win in a row in this building against Atlantic 10 competition.
They're giving much better weak side help in the zone than they did against the man-to-man in this matchup, 2-3.
Kilgore gets it into Hodge. He's immediately double-teamed. Carter almost comes up with a steal, knocks it out of bounds. Nice hustle there by Craig Carter.
Since Temple has gone to a three-guard offense, they haven't used the high post. But right now, you will see a lot of openings right there at the high post at the foul line. Great shot. There's that little extra step, a little extra push. Referee says, yeah, I got you. And everybody says, I was what?
You did what?
Traveling. Jackie Gleason would have liked that.
Hughes had a couple of beats. One, he didn't think he traveled. Second, he thought he got fouled. He may have been right with the foul, but it was after the traveling.
It was very close. The foot came down just before he shot the ball.
And we have a whistle after the inbounds play. There's a telephone on the floor. I've never seen this before, but the referee is picking it up. Al Schreier, the veteran sports information director at Temple. Maybe there was a call for one of the refs. You know, I don't know.
I think Al said your wife's calling you after that last call.
Well, Mick Kilgore just dialed long distance. Three-point shot, and Temple's got a 4-point lead.
Kilgore made that the first half. He had 10 points for 9. They need him to light up. He hasn't been effective against the zone either.
Second three-pointer of the night for Kilgore, but he's taken a lot from out there. Meanwhile, Hughes driving the baseline, and he stepped out of bounds.
That was our man Carter.
Or Carter, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Craig Carter. Situation, the Temple Owls 16-10 coming in, leading the Rutgers Scarlet Knights at 15-14 coming in. Temple having already wrapped up the regular season title in the Atlantic 10. And we look at the scoring leaders.
Mark Macon, 21. Hodge, 13. Hughes, 17. Duncan, 18. So one of those four, the one that gets hot here in the last 4 minutes, that club's going to win.
Leading rebounders in the game, Perry has 11 for Rutgers, and Hodge has pulled down 9 boards for the Temple Owls.
And after timeouts, I doubt if you'll see anybody else shoot but those 4.
Macon one-on-one against Jones, and Mark Macon takes him to school, and Temple's got a 7-point lead.
And that time they cleared out the whole right side of the court, and Rutgers didn't respond.
Trying to answer is Duncan with a three-pointer. Perry with 2 tough rebounds, and he is hacked from behind. Kilgore will get the foul.
And Coach Wenzel looked out at Duncan, and Duncan right away ran over the referee and said, I got hit on the elbow, I got hit on the elbow.
No. Well, shot selection at times has been a problem for that man's team.
Yeah. And once again, the chemistry, this Rutgers team, if they get it, they could do what they did last year, win the tournament.
Three-point shot up and no good by Keith Hughes. I'll tell you, at times, Rutgers has looked very, very cohesive and very good. At other times, their shot selection, as we pointed out, has not been good, and they've been a bit undisciplined.
And with a 7-point lead, you'll see Rutgers get out of that zone. They're out right now.
And Duncan is not feeling 100% out on the floor. He's limping ever so slightly, trying to play hard.
You better not get behind Temple by 7 points in this gym.
3 minutes and 5 seconds and counting at McGonigle Hall. Atlantic 10 action on ESPN. The Big 8 coming up next. Oklahoma State at Iowa State.
Mr. Macon will take it about with 6 seconds left. There it is, right there.
Shaking and baking and throwing up the 3 and getting nothing but air.
And a little backboard.
Yes.
But that's, when you're 7 up, that's what you want to do.
Duncan tries to draw the foul, does so, but his shot is no good. Harden draws credit for fouling Mr. Duncan.
And Duncan has that old varsity limp after he takes one of those shots. Last time it was on the elbow. This time it was the knee that was hurt. But they're not in the bonus yet.
No, foul before the shot. That was the 16th foul. Rather, the 15th foul on Temple. No, now they update it. Each team has 16 fouls, so from now on it'll be 1-1. Hughes catches it and has it put back in his face by Hodge underneath. Hodge may have hurt himself, but Temple gets the ball.
Well, Temple zone's real tough during the ball game, but in a last 3-minute situation, when you need to score quickly, oh, it can really be a spider web.
Michael Harden, been impressive as a point guard tonight for the Temple Owls. Takes good care of that basketball. He's a sophomore out of Baton Rouge. It's LSU country.
If he could just hit a couple of field goals early in the ball game, this club would be, I think, 50% better.
2 minutes, 5 seconds and counting. Temple by 7. Time is their ally now. Rutgers has to start forcing some action.
The count was on that side.
5 seconds left on the shot clock. Macon will have to throw it up. And Strickland, he wanted to dunk it. Macon throws it up, no good.
There's the shot that shouldn't have been taken.
Yep, that's right. They should have taken it outside and run out the clock.
When you have a junior in the ballgame like Mark Macon that has been through all kinds of playoff games, he got the rebound with 1:48. They could have run 40 seconds off the clock because Rutgers is not pressuring, they're not fouling. And defensively, they're not the greatest team in the world to change situations. So I think they could have run another 45 seconds off the clock. Instead, Rutgers shooting 1-1.
And big free throws for Lee Perry, a 67% foul shooter, sinks the first. There's still plenty of time for Rutgers to come back. They're trailing by 6 with 1:44 to go, and with a three-point shot and the fouling and the free throw shooting, anything can still happen.
Let's see if they go into something full court. They have a lot of quickness, good athletes in the ball game right now. They could pressure young Michael Harden.
Perry's second one no good, and there is a big rebound for Temple by Mark Strickland. 6-point Temple lead, and you can bet that John Chaney's team will be interested in running down that shot clock, but a good foul there by Duncan, not letting him do it.
Well, if you're not into something that's going to double team under 3 minutes, then you better play it into a foul situation and hope that the young junior Harden doesn't make foul shots.
Well, Michael Harden, a 70% foul shooter, will get his turn at the 1-1. No good. Rebound by Perry of Rutgers. Tell you, if Temple hits their foul shots, they're going to win this game, plain and simple. But if that happens, Rutgers has got a chance. Duncan from three-point land, it's good. That's his fourth bomb of the night.
They should be putting a little more pressure in the game because they're still 3 down. But they're in much better shape than before Duncan unloaded.
You and I saw game 5 nights ago, Utah-Wyoming, and the running Utes lost the game because of their inability to sink crucial free throws down the stretch.
There's the guy that just missed one. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Less than a minute to go now. Temple by 3, and Rutgers putting on the pressure.
16 seconds on the shot clock. They don't want to foul now. Now they have to go and hope for a miss. Don't let Macon get the ball.
Here's Kilgore. 5 seconds on the shot clock. He's going to let it fly, and he's going to be called for the offensive foul.
Great defense by Rutgers, and a little indecision on the part of Temple deciding what they wanted to do.
And a timeout is called by Rutgers with 42 seconds left. Boy, you know, Rutgers is one of those teams, and we've seen them around the country, you and I. Last Saturday night, Wyoming just wouldn't go away at Utah. Tonight, Rutgers, they were down by 10, never more than 10. They make a little spurt, get within 4, 5, 6. They haven't gone away tonight either.
And I think it's a case of, as you've seen the timeouts left, Temple only has 1, but Rutgers is the ball club that needs them, and they have 2. The possession arrow is towards Rutgers, so they have a couple of things going for them. Plus, they have the basketball right now. Temple's in the bonus and Rutgers is in the bonus. But right now, Rutgers really hasn't done it that much to get back into this ballgame. I think Temple just hasn't had great decisions this last 2 minutes as far as what they wanted to do offensively.
As John Chaney huddles with his team, time once again to remind you that more college basketball excitement comes your way right after our game tonight. From the Big 8, Oklahoma State and Iowa State, they're warming up now in Ames, Iowa for that game. And right after that game, of course, the ESPN Sports Center with Dan Patrick and Bob Lee. And, of course, if you've been watching our game from the beginning, you know that history has been made. Mark Macon surpassing Terrence Stansbury to become the greatest scorer in Temple University history.
They took a guy from Michigan. All those other guys from Philadelphia, Bo Kimball, Hank Gathers, Mark Stevenson, the big train Lionel, they all went away. Of course, Lionel is here in the city with LaSalle.
All right, back to business. 40 seconds left. Rutgers down by 3 with the ball. Obviously, something big has to happen here for the Scarlet Knights.
Will Duncan try to take Harden?
Duncan to Carter, and Carter is fouled before he can get off the shot. Taking the foul for Temple was Sean Randolph, his first, and that'll put Carter on the line for 1-1.
Well, there's certain guys on the Rutgers team, you know, if they touch the ball, they're going to shoot it. Craig Carter is one of those. He averaged 9 points a game last year. His average is down a little this year. He's kind of lost out with Hughes and Duncan scoring a lot more. Carter's capable of scoring at the end of a ball game. 67% free throw shooter is Craig Carter. Off the rim, but Perry has the rebound. It is blocked, but they call a foul on Hodge. And Perry will go to the line for 2. That's a crucial turnaround. And speaking of crucial, what about that technical that was called on Temple when Mark Macon set the record? Rutgers made 1 out of 2 and got possession. We'll keep an eye on that as it goes along. John Chaney will not be happy with Hodge on that boxing out on the rebounds of a missed foul shot. That's a cardinal sin with a guy like Don Haskins, any of the guys that have been around a long time. It's the little things that lose ball games.
Perry also a 67% foul shooter. And on the night, he is 5 out of 6.
Now, Rutgers has to decide who they're going to foul. I'd look at that point guard, Mr. Harden. He's missed 1. He is a 70% foul shooter, but he's a prime candidate to foul.
And the second shot no good. Kilgore, did he carry it out of bounds? He did. It is, I believe it's Rutgers basketball.
But no, they're going to have to talk about this. The underneath official has the call, and they won't dispute it.
They still haven't made a clear-cut call. There's timeout on the floor with 27 seconds left. I believe it is going to be Rutgers basketball.
Well, they would be a lot better off if they had made the second foul shot, simply because that would have put them 3 up and you could only tie the game. Now, if they foul somebody and they make
Rutgers
2 foul shots,
timeouts remaining.
they'll go 4 points up. So that was a big miss and a big call.
Well, it's going to be Temple ball, we understand.
No doubt. Now, let's take a look at it. Coach Wenzel said the Temple man stepped out of bounds with the ball. There, the ball. The referee's not saying it's out right now. So let's see who has the ball going out of bounds.
Well, they both touch it there as it's coming down.
But the call hasn't been made till right. Oh.
I don't know about that call.
Yes, if I were the referee on that call, I would have called Rutgers ball. Simply because it was tough to tell who hit it, and he didn't make the call when the ball hit the ground. He waited till the Temple man. So let's take a look one more time and see if the referee blows the ball when the ball hits the ground.
You know what? The referee might have made a belated call. He might have said that the ball, when it was coming down, was tipped out and hit the stripe, and he might have been thinking that the Rutgers man caused it to hit the stripe, and so he signaled Temple ball. At any rate, it is a crucial call.
And he laughs, and Coach Wenzel doesn't think he's Milton Berle.
No. Kilgore inbounds.
There's a guy to foul Hodge. They missed it.
Macon's got it.
Oh, now they're in trouble. This young man will make it.
20 on a steal. Jones to Carter, to Jones, to Perry. He blows the layup, and there is Hughes to put it in. And we're tied with 10 seconds left. No timeouts. 5 seconds left. We're tied up. Bounce pass. Kilgore, jumper. We are going overtime in Philadelphia. And Keith Hughes puts in a rebound of a missed layup with 8 seconds left, and we're going to be here for at least 5 more minutes.
I think the best way to describe what just happened was mass confusion on both parts. Either defense was really ready or set. As you see right here, Mark Macon wants to run time. He got himself, what he wanted was to get fouled and be the foul shooter. But Rutgers did a good job. Now, here's when the mass confusion starts. known as ready to play.
Wow.
And a great offensive vigil in the United States this year, and I think they deserve to go.
At one point, Rutgers was down by 10 here in the second half. But here we go to overtime, and the Scarlet Knights control the tip. Well, you got to give Bob Wenzel's team all the credit in the world. One of the toughest home courts in the country to break through on.
They need something like this. They need a win now. They don't need to be close. They need a win, and they'll be a toughs in the playoffs.
Greg Carter thinks about it.
And you know he was thinking about the shot.
Oh, yeah. Here's Hughes. He's hot. Why not? Perry with a rebound try. Can't hold it. And Strickland grabs it for the Owls.
Shot selection will mean a lot now. The shot selection that Temple needs is Mark Macon.
Well, Macon with 21 points on the night. Tied at 64, 4-13 and counting in overtime. Tom Mees with Mike Rice with you from McGonigle Hall in Philadelphia. Atlantic 10 regular season finale for both these fine teams.
Before the shot clock, Coach Chaney, he was the type of guy that would run the clock down for the last shot.
Arden's shot is partially blocked by Perry, and he grabs the ball out of the air, and here comes Rutgers.
And that's where I think Mark Macon should take over and let him, no matter what situation, double team. And they're in a straight man-to-man, and there's no one defensively that can come close to stopping him. And yet Harden, the young junior, takes the shot.
Earl Duncan thought about the three-pointer. He's got 4 of them on the night. He'll take it now. Nobody near him. Off the rim, it's Jones for the rebound. No, another rebound by Hughes. He can't hang on. Looks like a rugby scrum. We're going to have a jump ball, and it'll be Temple basketball.
Rutgers really going after the offensive rebounds.
There's a wet spot on the floor. The official's getting the ball boy to clean it up. John Chaney, I think his tie was undone before the game started.
No confusing offensive schemes for Rutgers.
No.
They'll throw it up.
It's a fun offense. Got to be.
And go after it. And whatever happens from there. Whereas down at this end, the scheme may be a little too complicated. There's the guy right there.
Macon takes Jones underneath, and Jones strips him of the basketball. And here's Rutgers with a 2-on-1. Jones to the hole.
It's a charge.
It is a block. No, a charge. You're right. I thought the official was going to call a block. Jones was lobbying, but he didn't win the case.
The referee didn't put his hand.
Arch, you know his team is ready.
That was a big game for Bob Huggins' Cincinnati team. They needed it probably to get into NCAA. Timeouts. Rutgers has one now. The advantage to them, Temple 2. Rutgers has the arrow, so things going Rutgers' way right now. But a lot of time, we've seen a lot of different things in this overtime. So right now, the advantage Temple, they still have Mark Macon. If he'd stop and shoot a jump shot instead of going all the way under with the trees.
Jones has it, and this is back to Craig Carter. Rutgers tying the game up with 8 seconds left on a tip-in by Keith Hughes. Boy, Jones tried a dipsy-do pass underneath and then compounded the penalty because after the pass was intercepted, he fouled the best foul shooter on the floor in Mark Macon.
Well, you know what that's called? A freshman in the ball game with 3 minutes left to go in the overtime. Mr. Jones hasn't had a lot of playing time. He's a great defensive player, but that time the freshman came out in him. He made a bad pass and then compounded it by running over and fouling Mark Macon, as you said. He won't miss these. Someone else may.
75 or 77% foul shooter is Mark Macon.
And he's just the opposite the last 2 minutes. You put him on the line, you're going to lose the ball game. I'm glad somebody is scored in this overtime.
That is his first free throw of the night, Mark Macon. His second is good as well. He's 2 for 2, 23 points. He had 24 in Temple's win over Rutgers about 10 days to 2 weeks ago, 4 games ago.
If Rutgers is going to win it, they're going to have to win it on the offensive board. Let's see what their set is. There's that matchup zone that's so tough.
Hughes, they wanted an offensive foul on him. The home crowd did, but nothing doing.
When Harden can come out and match up, they're in good shape. But when Harden is dropped back, then that means their zone is a little out of key. Right now, he's matched up with Carter. They're in good shape.
Underneath.
And that's what happens. They can double team you then.
Keith Hughes had it batted away. He was going to make a strong move to the hole, and something wasn't there when he turned. So Temple with the lead by 2 and with the basketball, but that didn't help them down the stretch in regulation. 140 and counting left in overtime.
They'll run the whole clock down here and hope Mark Macon gets his hands on the ball.
And Duncan fouls Harden. In fact, he fouled him twice, but they only counted once.
And Harden knows that rule. He said, wait a minute, I get 2 shots. I got fouled once.
Oh, he fouled him. They blew the whistle, and he fouled him again.
They fouled the right guy. Right now, Temple from the line, Strickland this season, 35%. He's someone that they should look into. Harden, 71%. And he's missed the last 2 one-on-ones, so he was due. He probably said to himself, wait a minute, I'm on national TV. I missed 2. They're talking about me over there. I got to put one in.
And Harden is 1 of 2, so it's a 3-point lead for the Owls. Rutgers has not scored at all in the overtime. They trail 67-64.
And watch the guy from Syracuse. He's due to light one up.
Here's Craig Carter taking the off-balance 2-pointer, and Rutgers Jones corrals the rebound. Hughes thought about the 3, and Macon trips him on the way down the lane.
Once again, if Harden can match, there was someone out court, and watch the defensive help here, and it definitely was a foul on Macon's knee. They didn't need to foul him because they had a lot of good help from Harden.
That's the 4th personal on Mark Macon. 68% from the line is Pete Hughes. But he is 1 for 1 in overtime.
As we said, it has to be a win for Rutgers to be a momentum builder. They could really go into the tournament and almost clinch an NIT. Because the Atlantic 10, because of the TV exposure that Commissioner
Ron
Berdovich has gotten the Atlantic 10, they're a good draw for the NIT.
Hughes is 1 of 2 as well, so Temple's lead is still 2 with the ball with 1:12 left.
They've done a great job, Ron Berdovich, getting exposure for the Atlantic 10.
I can remember the day when the Atlantic 10 did not have a television package, but they have got one now. They've got a good local one. They've been on, well, this is the 4th time this year that Rutgers has been on ESPN, and we've had Temple on before as well.
Well, they fought the ECAC at their early, and the Big East got all the games, and the Atlantic 10 got nothing, and it took them a while to get going.
They're getting there now. They're on the way. Although this is not as good a year for the Atlantic 10 as it was 2 years ago when they got 3 teams in the NCAA. And Temple, John Cheney wants a timeout with 43 seconds left in overtime and 12 on the shot clock.
I think it was
happenstances in that game. And UNLV on the road tonight in Utah, leading by 4, as Chris updated. Now it is Temple by 2.
And this will be a great finish right here to see if Mark Macon could get his hands on the ball against Jones.
Well, now the shot clock is down to 5. Temple's got to put it up. I wonder if the players know that. Down to 2. Kilgore just throws it up there and almost got it. And hold this. Don't count the basket. We have a foul on Rutgers underneath. Hodge was there for the rebound, but he was fouled.
And that was the biggest rebound Hodge will have this year. They were running Macon on the baseline off a pick. They just didn't have time to get him the ball. And look at Macon and Hodge box out. They look like they're the defensive players.
Well, Temple is a team tonight at the foul line, Mike. Only 50%. Hodge shooting over 70%. He misses. So now Rutgers down by 2.
And Duncan.
Temple and Rutgers. Rutgers tying it up with under 10 seconds left in regulation. And now we have, I believe, Craig Carter on the line for 2 that could tie it up again.
This is a tough way to go in. They've got a big ball game Saturday. Of course, Temple will play the winner of Duquesne and St. Joe. But he's a guy from the Bronx, shooting 68%. He won't make both of them.
Rutgers as a team is 7 for 13 tonight. Well, nothing but cotton that time.
Wait a minute now. Those guys from the Bronx.
Regular second overtime. I'm Tom Mees with Mike Rice, and here we go. Rutgers controls as they did begin the first overtime. And a steal by Harden. He should have a layup. He does not. Oh, I'll tell you, Jones with some nice defense, and even though Temple will retain possession, Jones did a heck of a job.
Well, he had to. The freshman was looking for Duncan. Duncan shouldn't have been standing around looking for the ball. They should have gone right into their offense. Harden, there's a tremendous defensive play right there, coach, along with Coach of Duquesne University this year. He's done a great job. The assistant from Seton Hall.
4:18 and counting. We're tied at 67. Yeah, the Mass Minutemen led Atlantic 10 for much of the first half of the season. Hodge has it down low. He's double teamed. Gets around it off the glass, and a great move for the Frenchman, the 7-footer Donald Hodge.
He was doing that early in the ball game when Rutgers was playing man-to-man. Since Rutgers went into the zone and then back man-to-man, Hodge hasn't touched the ball.
Craig Carter one-on-one. Spitter up.
And that looked like the Bronx also.
Shaking and baking to the max.
Put him on the foul line.
Carter down the lane. Running one-hander is an air ball, and Strickland with a rebound for Temple. Carter is not shy, is he?
Hey, that's how you have to want to win the ball game.
Both these teams are undefeated in overtime. Of course, they've only played once. I alluded to the victory by Temple over UMass in triple overtime by a point.
John Carroll's the name I was thinking of, the coach of Duquesne. I couldn't remember John's name. He's done a great job. You got to remember him.
Harden.
Let's see who they go to now. 3 minutes left and a 2-point lead.
Shot clock is down to 9 for Temple. Macon looks like he's going to have to take it. 1-on-3. Well, there you go.
Shake and bake Macon. He's bringing back some of the cliches.
27 points for Mark Macon.
And Mark says, now why didn't I do that at the end of the last overtime?
Perry wide open. Perry draws Rutgers within 1.
2 3-pointers so far tonight, 17 rebounds. He'll remember this one.
Lee Perry has 12 points on the night. 6 of them on 2 shots from 3-point land.
I think they should be out pressuring Harden a little bit more. See if they can get a turnover from him.
Hodge, Rutgers fans in attendance, and there are several wanted traveling. Now he's double teamed, and a whistle. They will get Hodge for traveling.
And a great move by the senior Perry. He left Strickland and went down and double teamed Hodge, and Hodge moved his feet. So Perry's doing it at both ends.
What a struggle here in the final regular season game of the Atlantic 10. Temple leading Rutgers by 1. Rutgers having never won in this building, 0-5 lifetime.
Not too many people have won in this building.
A lot of big teams from outside the East don't want to come in this building. Earl Duncan. I thought for a moment they were going to get Duncan for shuffling his feet, but underneath they hit Kilgore or Strickland with a foul.
Yes, yeah. Strickland was pushing Hughes.
Double fouls on number 13, Mark Strickland.
And of course, we're in the 1-1. Well, have been for a long time.
He had his arms out, but you know they've been playing that way on defense all night. I didn't see anything there that hasn't been going on, so they're cleaning it up with 1:51 in the second overtime.
Hughes, the 68% shooter, barely hit the front of the rim on that foul shot.
He's the one I meant would miss.
Yes, all right.
Not that guy from the Bronx.
Too late. It's too late, Mike. We got you on videotape. You can't get out of it. Macon. Hey, we don't know what all the talk is about Mark Macon not doing that well this year. He's lighting it up against us.
Well, everyone wants him to be so super, you know, score 40 a game. And look at his, you know, tonight his stats will be good. He has 29, and everyone will be disappointed.
3-point shot by Duncan is out. The rebound controlled by Temple. And with 40 seconds left, the shot clock is off, and Temple can wind it down now, and Rutgers, knowing that, commits the foul.
That was a good 3-pointer by Duncan. He was set. The ball was in the back of the rim. Rutgers is not a great team to get organized, to run an organized 3-pointer. The only thing with this was it was NBA-type range, but Duncan is capable of making a 3-pointer like that. So rather than try to get organized and set up a 3-pointer, I think that 3-pointer was good.
Mark Macon at the line. Mr. Reliable, 30 points now for Macon, and Temple by 4, and it's going to be tough now for Rutgers, especially if he makes this next one.
I think she's warming up.
The fat lady?
Fat lady's singing our song.
31 for Macon, a 5-point Temple lead. Rutgers got to shoot it in a hurry. 40 seconds and counting. Duncan is pressured. Temple coming way out here to play the 3-point shot. Carter puts it up anyway. Strickland with a rebound.
I think that they're a definite threat. They play Temple very well. They know how to sag off, and they know how to play Mark Macon.
Kilgore misses, 15 seconds left. Rutgers got to hurry, down by 5. Duncan launches it. Air ball, and that, my friend, should be it. It is Temple ball, 8 seconds left, and they're starting to chant, "Start the bus" here in Philadelphia for Bob Wenzel's team. Rutgers bus down today, and they'll be going home right after the game with a hard-fought effort, but a loss nonetheless. There's our final score in double overtime. Temple 75, Rutgers 70. The Owls finished 17 and 10 on the year. Rutgers finishing at 15 all. Let's go back to the studios now, and Chris Fowler.
Okay, thanks, fellas. That Atlantic 10 tournament shaping up as one of the most exciting, just as it was last year. A good portion of it right here on ESPN. Reminder, coming up in just